Alright, so on wisdom from the Rebbe for today. So this week's Parsha, Yaakov Avinu's name is switched from Yaakov to Yisroel. Now this is very strange, as later on the Torah continues to call him Yaakov. As the Gemara says that Avraham Avinu, once his name was switched from Avram to Avraham, a person is not allowed to call him by his original name of Avram. As opposed to by Yaakov Avinu, we see that he's later on in the Torah referred to as Yaakov as well. So the Gemara says the reason for this is because the Torah itself does it, but still we have to understand what's the logic behind it. Why do we need to have both Yaakov and Yisroel? So the explanation is because every single Jewish person has both the aspect of Yaakov and Yisroel within him at all times, and therefore he constantly needs to be able to balance and incorporate both parts of this service. The idea being that Yaakov represents the idea of trickery. As Yisroel accused Yaakov that you did a trick, Yaakoveni. You did a trick in order to receive the blessings from his father Yitzchak. This is the idea of a service of a Jew, where a Jew is going to deal with the physical world. He's going to eat, he's going to do things that he needs to do in the physical world. So seemingly it looks like he's doing things to enjoy the world. And that's why it's really called a trick, because really the reason why a person is doing it, even though it looks like it's physical, is really for the sake of God. Because the whole point the entire time of why you're eating is in order to be able to elevate that food to God Almighty. Then there's the service of Yisroel. Yisroel is the way that it's originally served clearly for God. He's not intimidated from anyone else. He doesn't do any needed trickery. Like the word Yisroel comes from the word tsar. You're an officer. You're totally higher than any physicality. And you don't need to deal with the worries of the world. And that's what the idea of Yaakov and Yisroel is, which is generally the service of a Beinoni versus a tzaddik. This is also what it says about later on, that lo ra aven b'Yaakov. There's no sins by Yaakov. However, it takes a lot of efforts because he constantly needs to fight. However, lo ra amal b'Yisrael. By Yisrael level, there's no efforts at all. You don't need to struggle at all because clearly we already have the work. And every single Jew, every Beinoni, or even a tzaddik, has to have both of these parts of his life constantly being taken into consideration and elevated and worked with. L'chaim, l'chaim.